To animate a symbol, you must, of course, have a symbol, which we've just created, and you must identify a span of time or number of frames for that symbol to be animated. So let's say the wheel will use 30 frames. All I need to do is insert a regular frame, not a keyframe, not a blank keyframe, but a regular frame. Okay, so the only keyframe in this animation at this point is on frame 1. Now, next thing, you have to apply what is called a motion tween. Create a motion tween. This is not a shape tween, classic tween, it's a motion tween. To animate a symbol, you need a motion tween. And you know where motion tweens are in the timeline because they're identified by blue. If this were a shape tween, it would be green. Now, on frame 1, I want to place where this should start. Now, I'm going to animate it in place. I'm not going to animate it moving about the screen. I'm just animating it in place for now. So frame 1 marks the position. And then I'm going to put my playhead over the last frame. And I am going to rotate it. So if we come over to the properties window, playhead is on the last position or last frame. The symbol itself is selected, and you should see rotation here in properties. I want it to rotate a few times, not too many. Maybe let's go 10 times. Okay, 11. Let's go 10. So I'll just type in 10. And the direction, clockwise. You could also choose counterclockwise. It's up to you which direction you want to actually have it rotate. And what you'll see is once we've done that, a mini keyframe has appeared. It's not as large as the keyframes you insert, but by using a motion tween and making a change from first position to last, a mini keyframe has been generated. Now, if I scrub or drag the playhead, you can see that tire or wheel turning. Now, if I had wanted to move it, let's say first position, we want it to start off screen slightly or off stage slightly. And let's say in the last position, we want it to end up off screen over here. And you see how a path has generated? Now, it's not only rotating, it's moving from one place to the next. So you have lots of options. You also have an option to move that playhead back and say in increments, place the playhead, and you could move your symbol to a new position. Now, let's see what happens. Look at that. And command return. So not only is it rotating, but moving from place to place. Now, it's a little difficult to see it rotating right now because I have it rotating many times. So what I might want to do is actually start also adjusting how many rotations are really occurring from one point to the next. So I can also, I did good and good. So let's see this now. Still a little difficult to see, but because there's so much movement. A normal or average animation probably wouldn't have so many ups and downs and rotations at one time. Okay, so that's one wheel. If I were to, let's call it wheel 1. If I were to want another wheel in this animation, I'd need a new layer and get in the habit of labeling those layers. So, new layer, and again, I don't need to recreate a wheel to use it again. I simply go to the library and check it out, and let's say this one's going to be over here. Maybe this time I don't change the size. Maybe I don't shrink it down. So wheel 1 is small and it's moving zigzag pattern all over. Wheel 2 maybe will simply move across, or it could stay in place. we need to create a motion tween. And let's just say we'll move this across and use my transform, and I'll shrink it down, and maybe I'll just sort of move it up actually. Okay, so the second wheel, we are changing size. It's close to you, it's large, it's far away, it's small, and we didn't rotate it at all. Maybe we give it, let's say 5 rotations. Okay, let's try this. So the large wheel is moving away from us and shrinking. The small wheel is zigzagging across the screen. Both are at the same time. And we did not add to the size of the file with the second wheel because we simply dragged it out of the library. We did not make it new. Okay, if we wanted to revisit, let me turn off wheel 2 for a moment. If we want to revisit the zigzag pattern, maybe we don't want a straight line connecting from point A to point B. Maybe we want to arc it, make it more natural. So if you notice, I've selected the selection tool, and when I hover over the path, I get a rounded line next to my cursor or next to my mouse. What that means is if I click on that path, it's going to allow me to click and drag. I can customize it to start getting a more unique and natural flow. So let's see what we get now. And this is how you would customize your path. Again, to animate a symbol, you create a symbol, you identify a span of frames to animate within, you create a motion tween in that span of frames, and then you place your playhead and make changes to the position or the size of your symbol, point A to point B. Or you can do point A at the beginning, go to the very end and place it, and then you can go back in between and make adjustments as you want them. And to test, Command Return. Get used to testing your files with Command Return. And of course, save your file.